Hello and welcome to the Zelda Realm YouTube channel with me, Joe, and in today's video, with Age of Imprisonment coming out very soon, and with Age of Imprisonment featuring a lot of side characters, I'm going to pose the question, which side character deserves a game in the Zelda universe for themselves? And I've ranked what I believe are the top 5 options from number 5 down to number 1. And trust me, you want to wait for number 1 because I think a lot of you will agree with me on that. To be clear, Link and Zelda are the two characters that cannot be featured in this list for obvious reasons, as obviously Link is the main character and Zelda herself has had a game of her own already. Makes sense? Alright, without further ado, let's get straight into the list. Alright, starting on our list, in at number 5, I think this is inspiration slightly from Age of Calamity, but it would be Impa. We have seen Impa in many of the Zelda games, of course. Most recently, we have seen Granny Impa in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And in Tears of the Kingdom, Granny Impa is just having a jolly good time in her hot air balloon, enjoying the geoglyphs, and she seems to be living her best life. However, in Age of Calamity, we saw a version of Impa that for me is the most badass version of any of the Impas we have seen in any of the Zelda games. And it made me think, what about a side game with Impa, where it's a bit more hack and slashy, less Hyrule Warriors-y, more like kind of like a Zelda game but with like a hack and slash combat style, because Impa seems to suit that really fast-paced style. It would be really interesting to know more about the Sheikah as well, and I think we could learn that through her. So that's my option at number 5. And at number 4, I'll be frank, I have absolutely no idea how you would make this into a game because it doesn't really make sense, but he is one of the most intriguing characters in Zelda, with his kind of rich backstory, his sad and complex thing, and we see it fleshed out more in Major Link's series, A Hero's Purpose. But at number 4, we have Skull Kid, who I have grown to feel quite sorry for after A Hero's Purpose. But I think there's like strange motivations there that we could explore through a Skull Kid game. I don't know how it would play out. I think I'm talking about a world where Zelda could be any, these side games could be any style of game. I just wonder, would a Skull Kid game be like more like a horror style game? It's quite psychological. A lot of the story around Skull Kid is kind of about his psyche and how he's like a little bit lost and dazed and all this kind of thing. So I think maybe that is the kind of style that would suit him. But if you've got any suggestions for that, put them down in the comments below. Alright, number 3. This is probably the only companion, so unlucky Fi, unlucky Navi. But at number 3 I've got Midna in there. I think a lot of people would love to see a Midna game in the Zelda universe. Again, Midna's quite a dark character. I realise now that in my list of 5 there are 3 pretty dark characters in there. Let's see if you can guess who the other 2 are from this. But Midna in both forms, I think we could see a version of a Midna game where, quite like the Wolf Link mechanic from Twilight Princess, you could have the kind of corrupted version of Midna and then the true form as like two different forms that you have to play as. And I would like to see, if we did a Midna game, I'd love to see her be like full combat. I don't want an Echoes of Wisdom style, like, oh, let's pick up an Echo, yoo-hoo. No, we don't want that. We want, like, I would have loved a Zelda game where she was casting straight up spells, not being like, oh, I send out a choo-choo. No, like, proper spells. Like, let's get Elden Ring spell casting in for Zelda or for Midna. But yeah, I think Midna could be really interesting, and I think it would allow us to explore more of the backstory of Twilight Princess, which would be, I think, pretty cool. In at number 2, getting a silver medal this could maybe be the strangest game of all time. But also when I think about this character, for some reason, all I can think about is like a Yoshi's Crafted World style game. Make that make sense. We can't. But I think at number 2, we're going to have to go for Tingle, because man, that man has serious issues. That fairy has serious issues. We need to figure out what's going on with Tingle. The game would be the most psychedelic, crazy, mushroom-fueled adventure you've ever seen in your life. I think it could work really cool as like a cutesy 2D platformer. The Adventures of Tingle. And he's just going like almost like a Super Mario Bros. But a Tingle game. Imagine that. He's just running around, like jumping about on platforms, being weird, being creepy. Might not work as a kid's game, but it could work. Could be quite meta. Tingle. Would you like to play a Tingle game? What would you call it? What would a Tingle game be called? Tingling-a-ling? What am I doing on YouTube? And at number 1! I think everybody will agree with this pick. I think it is the most intriguing option. And I think it could be potentially... This would be the craziest announcement in the history of Zelda ever, if they ever released a game centered around this character. And it has to be none other than the legend himself, Ganondorf. One of the finest antagonists in any game that we've ever seen. Ganondorf is the guy. And just imagine a game all on him, whether that is a young Ganondorf as he rises up the Gerudo and gets this power and he starts going after the Triforce of Power, whether that's a Ganondorf that has been sent into the spirit realm and we have to play like that. A lot of people, I think, would really enjoy playing as Ganondorf, and it would be so dark and twisted and warped, and it would be so cool. And I think in some ways we would grow to become more sympathetic towards the Ganondorf character, and I just think it would be so cool to play a Ganondorf focused game. We don't ever need to see Link and Zelda or any of that whatsoever. We just need to focus on Ganondorf, and it would be like, oh, it would be so epic. I would love to see a Ganondorf game. That is like top 5 wished games ever for me. That is like, let's make that happen. But yeah, he is the last character on my list. So, what did you think of my list? Would you agree with any of those characters? Who would you like to see a side game about? I personally would rather a side game about a character than the Hyrule Warriors games that we're getting, but some of you love Hyrule Warriors, that's totally fine, and I respect that you love those. I just want a Ganondorf game, and I want it tomorrow. Alright, let a boy dream, okay? If you did enjoy this video, please like, please subscribe, and put your comments down below. Who would you like to see a game on a side character about from The Legend of Zelda? That was a mouthful. But yes, I will be back soon, so until then I'll be in the Zelda realm, and I will see you in the next one. Au revoir, cheerio, bye bye.